Greetings and welcome back to our channel, Film Express Racing Pigeons. And I am very excited for our episode today because we have a very special guest, one of our heroes in this country, serving as an active member of our military, U.S. Air Force Chief Master Sergeant Sarrett.
Hey, thank you very much.
And I'm so thankful for giving us the opportunity to be here in his loft. Yes. How and why did you start racing pigeons?
So I'm kind of unique, but maybe not the only person that started this way, but I've always been fascinated with birds in general. I'm also fascinated with competition. But racing pigeons and homing pigeons started through falconry. So I used to train falcons to wait on so I could hunt ducks and pheasants. And it may seem kind of cruel, but I used to need pigeons that could escape the hawk to train them when they were doing wrong. So basically, if they're flying off far, I would kick them out and the falcon couldn't catch them because they're fast enough to get away. And then I would reward them that way. So it was easier to use pigeons that got away that went back to my house because I didn't have to go under the bridge and find them anymore.
Okay.
So that kind of started my fascination with pigeons because I found a guy named Sal Rodriguez, you might know him in Utah, and he told me he would kick my butt. That's basically what he said. He's like, I'll give you some pigeons, and he sold me some pigeons from his fly team, and he told me that they were really good and he could kick everybody's butt, but I wouldn't be able to kick his. So that started my competition piece, and then I started racing pigeons and doing the falcon.
And I have a special question, and it says here, what is it that makes this hobby, pigeon racing and, breeding the pigeons, and it's very special for you compared to, other hobbies?
Very true. So the bottom line is pigeon sport is relaxing. It keeps me at home for the most part. I'm able to do it with my kids, although they tend to see it as a chore now. But I'm able to do the chores and the pigeons and have a hobby where I can kind of come and meditate and just look at the pigeons and observe and relax. So, I mean, the competition part is great. Spending time with the birds and just kind of being able to escape reality.
Well, as we all know, well, I know definitely because my sister, she's also a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force, and I know how hectic it could be, how stressful it could be, like, in your position.
Yep.
Does it help, like, for the stressors? So how does it help you?
Yep, it's just a common effect, right? Just hanging out with the birds and you kind of get to zone in with the birds and kind of just observe them. It just kind of lets you just distract you from the reality.
I don't want to say de-escalate, but
yeah, that's exactly right. I'm trying to keep those birds out of there too. That's exactly right. So I started I was already in the military when I got pigeons the first time. That was 1999.
Okay, you were already in active duty.
Yep. So but I had been doing falconry since I was in high school.
So falconry first.
Yep.
And now you don't like the falcons anymore.
That's right.
Because
I don't like the falcons at all. I appreciate the falcons, but I don't like
of course.
them. Anything we can't get too mad if anything's at the bottom of the food chain.
Because they eat our birds.
That's right. I call them terrorists because I'm military. So that's what they are. They bring terror to my loft and the birds that are hanging out, so they're terrorists.
Are you into particular bloodline, or are you into the result and then you keep that bloodline?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Everything is, I'll take an unpedigreed winning bird over a pedigreed inbred anything any day.
Okay.
So I wanted to perform, and I keep birds that perform in the way that, or in the races that I want to perform in. I think it's important to talk about going back to when I started was 99, and I've had an opportunity to fly in 6 different states. So I've been competitive from Utah to Mississippi to Colorado and Texas and Florida. So flying in all those places gives you a variety of climates, and it also, the instability usually means I don't have an old bird team. So my old birds are very, very young. I think I've been pretty successful in one-off races, but I only send less than 20 out every year. So I won a couple of races last year. I didn't send any out in 2022.
So you're more into club racing? Because like what you mentioned, you like bonding with your kids, with your family, And I remember, I know you know Mr. Vern Clausen,
Yep.
and he mentioned that the beauty and the happiness of pigeon racing starts at the backyard.
That's right.
Well, we are in his backyard.
Right.
So now one of the most important thing also, because I'm sure many of our viewers will question, will ask, well, he is in the active military. How does he do that? Because we know that you will be stationed, like, you know,
Yeah.
wherever the military wants you to be stationed.
Yep.
So how do you do it?
I just I learned how to build pigeon lofts.
Okay, so you build this one by yourself?
Yeah, this is my 6th pigeon loft
Wow.
about the same size that I built, and I build them for my friends because I got good at it, so it's
Okay.
kind of an easy thing. And I just fly young birds.
Okay.
So it depends on what's happening, but normally I skip a season depending on when I move, and I just pack up whichever breeders I like, and then I bring those couple of breeders down. I usually
So you bring the breeders with you wherever you're going to be stationed, and then sadly you leave some behind.
Yeah.
So these are one of your racers, right?
Yes.
That we're going to release, and this is going to come back to it. And I have a gift. So I have something for Chief, and that's for you, Chief.
Thank you very much.
And it's made in Philippines.
even better.
Yeah, my younger brother made it. He
Oh,
printed it
that's
out. That is our T-shirt.
Do you make these designs? Are you
He made that design.
Somebody sent a design almost just like that for,
Oh, okay.
for our logo.
Maybe we can show it to our viewers.
Oh yes, sorry. It's very nice.
And it has a huge logo at the back.
oh, you
and-
got it.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate
You're
these
welcome.
leaders.
And thank you so much, sir, for your service.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chief, you're gonna show us some of your pigeons, right? Like those
Yeah.
things.
You're gonna see two different setups in there. A little bit of lazies behind it. I'm preparing for a little trip coming up. But I have some open floors, and then in my room with the nest boxes, I'm trying the deep litter out. That's both by necessity and by time. So the first section is just open holding pen. This is where I put futurity birds when they come in. So we have a big GSAF race. They all go in here. It's very easy to clean and it's open. Right now, these are extra breeders that we're probably going to move out in the upcoming times. So there's two pieces to this too. While I think about what we're going to do with these birds, so Richard and I, my partner right here in San Antonio is Richard Aquino.
And Richard was in the military.
Yeah, Richard's in the military. I met him through a military connection, so that was pretty cool too. So we recently just went through all the birds and eliminated some of the ones that we wouldn't breed out of ourselves. And then these are the duplicates or the extras that we have. And I'm not sure, we kind of missed the club auction, but the bottom line with these is we're looking to help somebody else with them. And basically we would give them away to the right person. Right?
Okay.
So if everybody emails me for a free
So you're gonna give some pigeons to the right person.
sign up, anybody that's a beginner, that's what I'm real passionate about. That's how I met Richard. I give away my best. Richard and I were going through some pigeons, like I said, just the other day, and we looked and they were still showed as I gave them away, and they came back. And they are some of my best breeders before and after I gave them to them.
You are doing this because you want to help, and you also want this hobby to stay alive.
That's exactly right. I think there's too many people out for $1. And while it'd be nice to make some money, I'd rather stick to a brand, right? So the Loft, as it is now, is SRPL, but Richard and I are probably going to partner moving forward, so it'll be ASRPL.
Nice.
And we care about the brand, right? We don't ever want a pigeon to leave here that's gonna detract or degrade somebody's loft. We want to perpetuate the sport, make better pigeons for everybody that we can. Okay, let's if you guys want to come look at inside my fly loft. I do have a back door to this whole thing, but I like this light bit more.
So what can you tell us about this portion of your loft?
So this is the deep litter version that I'm trying. I like the hard floors because during the colder climates it's easy to balance and maintain the airflow with them.
So you also separate, like these are the cocks and these are the hens?
Cocks. That will be the hens in the future, so that holding pen and there's another section right there will be the hens. But for now the hens are in the young bird loft. Just move them over that way.
All right, you are so into like blue, huh?
I do not like, I don't like pigeon colors at all. For the same reason that I don't like pedigrees, because people try to breed for color, and I'd rather breed for winning. So I don't trust somebody that has a bunch of color birds, because I feel like they tried hard to make color versus tried hard to make a winner.
I like that mentality.
Yes, sir. There's one exception I gotta give a shout out. My #1 breeder is an indigo hen from Ryan Jones, and I argued with him, so that's Jones Boys in Salt Lake. I argued with him about taking this pigeon, and it's basically founding my loft.
Do you have a particular person that you want to thank because gave you the guidance and everything?
So moving around, it takes a village, right? And that's probably one of the reasons I want to pass that on. So definitely got to be Sal Rodriguez at the beginning. Don White, an old flyer who, when I got PMV, when I first started, all my birds died, and he called me over and gave me 4 crates full of pigeons so I could fly young birds the next year. I can't express how important that was to me, and it allowed me and probably kept me racing pigeons. So those are the first 2 guys. Bruce Dane, you might know him from Florida. He's my #1 partner, friend, and mentor in the pigeon game. He's got a massive passion for birds. He breeds out of 6 pairs total and does very good in one-off races. And I'd be neglect if I didn't mention Jeff Earthman. So Jeff Earthman pulls a crazy amount of advice from millions of old school guys, and he re-taught me about feeding and gave me some pointers as I moved here. Because frankly, the competition in San Antonio is a little stiffer than Colorado, where I was before. So I was crushing everybody in Colorado, came here and struggled a little bit, and Jeff changed the game for me. So I grabbed this red one. This is from Andy Roybaugh. Andy entered this in the GSAF race, I forgot how many years ago, last year, 2021. And I called him up and told him, hey Andy, I can't believe it. Your red came home. I'm so sorry that it didn't do better because it had dropped its 9th flight up, and I'd raced the light system. It had dropped its 9th flight before the race. And I said, I can't even imagine what it would have done with all its flights. Well, the bird won money.
That's a money winner.
It's a money winner. He didn't ask for it back. It's probably Kalia Jansen, I'm sure he told me, but again, it's a race winner. So if it was me, it flew very well throughout the season, and he always comes home by himself, and you can see his unique color.
It is.
So he flew very good. Its entire life flew good in the old birds.
So if he's stationed somewhere else, would you bring that bird with you?
No, absolutely not. I would send it back to Andy Roy.
Okay.
So there's some etiquette in the pigeon sport too. If somebody gives you a bird or you're flying somebody else's bird, it's going back to them. And let's look at the young bird loft. This one is entirely open. It's actually 2 open, so I have to kind of shut it down. Otherwise, I get problems in here. But this one is young birds. Young birds to me get sick real easy, so I cut out the floor in this one. Try not to show all the piles of poop because they're still out. So this one's all just perches. I was hoping that putting the hens in here too would keep them from laying eggs because they don't like to lay on the wire floor, but they still lay eggs.
So, but you know what I noticed, Chief? These are all racing pigeons.
Yeah.
But I cannot say all because I noticed that you have a fancy.
That's right.
The white one. So can you tell us about the story about this one?
That is the most important pigeon in the loft.
There you
go. What do they call them? Chicos or satinets, droppers of any kind. What those are is all these birds do is get my birds out of the air. So normally they're coming in. I lost the GSAF 2 years ago by 1 second to a guy clear across San Antonio. That's how close the races are.
That's how important they are.
That's how important the getting the birds down. And the bird literally came, saw the group of people circling around, and came in. If I'd have saw the bird coming high, you throw the droppers. The droppers are pretty crazy. They fly up and then fly right back down. Sometimes they go to the roof.
And you have enough ventilation here. Can you tell something about your loft? How did you come up with this type of design?
So it's all based on heat. I wanted air to be able to come in the front and through the bottom, so the windows here open on the bottoms, and it pulls air up. So it's got the off center heat where the air just kind of blows out, keeps it open, and was an easy way to keep rain out as well. This one, like I said, is 2 open. I have to shut this door and that window so the air just pulls up. Otherwise, I get drafts and one eye cold. So
before we go to your breeding section, what is the key of having healthy pigeons?
Staying on top of them, observing them, minimizing contact with outside birds. The number one thing I found with young birds, especially bringing in birds from all over the place, is having some kind of disinfectant in their water, whether it be citric acid or one of the off-the-shelf kind of things. Eco tonic. So Seagulls owes me some money for that.
Do you use apple cider vinegar?
Some of that, yeah. So there's a recent article in the Pigeon Digest that talked about how much apple cider vinegar you have to change the pH, and it was substantial. That's when I went to the powdered citric acid. Anything apple cider vinegar, cilantro, all the other things.
I heard about that, cilantro and oregano sometimes.
Yep, oregano oil. So I think.
Well, thank you for that information. Can you show us your favorite bird in here? So Chief, why did you choose that one as your favorite bird?
So I basically like how this one looks, but I realized that every time I look at it, this is a young bird that flew 350 miles twice as a young bird. 350 miles is quite a feat, as it is. We have a special band race, the San Antonio Futurity, and then we had a bond race after that, and I raced it in both of them. It's kind of unheard of. That means it's got to have pretty good muscle and be able to bounce back really fast. This is a small one-pintail bird. The bloodline for this one is actually cannibal and a little HVR.
Nice. I heard about that cannibal. It's so popular.
Yeah. So when you asked me earlier about bloodlines, and the real secret is I have a lot, but I have a lot of cannibal, a lot of HVR for club races, and I cross that with Jansen's. Some of Jeff Earthman's Beckerts are phenomenal crosses into my family right now, and then of course the one lost stuff. So Baldwin Tilson. My probably number one breeder is out of Mona Lisa. It's not a direct daughter. It's all still performance. So my number one breeder, just for the record, is a flown bird down from Mona Lisa that was third average speed in the Apple Cup. I bred that with a bird that was equal first every single race in the Oklahoma race, the Twister. I paired those two birds together. That, by the way, was a Van Elsacker Jansen from CBS with the Mona Lisa line, Mona Lisa and Kuwait line from Mike Gannis. Paired those together and won the Apple Cup.
And you
walk to the breeding loft.
And this is his backyard.
So this is the holding pens. I put all the stock cocks and hens in there and keep them separate. Very open, very airy, very healthy. I don't ever have any problems with health in there.
Are they special birds? That's why they are in the special loft?
Yeah, that's exactly right. These are
so these are the birds that you will bring with you wherever you go.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
It's coming with me. That bird right below it, 503, was the champion bird, combine champion bird in Colorado. It literally was my first bird every race. Won the 350 by an hour. That's the final race. It beat the short end guys by 2 hours. So
wow.
So that's of course that's as a young bird because I stuck.
Yeah. So this is his breeding. And can you tell us how do you prepare your birds for breeding?
So the first thing comes with supplements and a little bit of medication to make sure they're spick and span before they come in here. They're going to get stressed as soon as I put them in the breeding cages by themselves. It's just what happens. So just getting chased by each other and the smaller amounts of food means there's less variety for them. So they kind of force themselves to have to eat food that they don't like, and they'll stop eating it for a little while. So my fat birds get a little bit skinny and they start stressing out a little bit. So all that said to say, I got to prepare them for that. So definitely worm them, treat them for canker, cocci, and all that kind of stuff. I like any kind of foreign one. I know that kind of goes against everything that they say, but if my breeders are healthy, so the Apple Cup winner is on her dad.
So you're inbreeding it?
Yeah. Oh, I lied. That's not her dad. I just realized that's my best breeding cock from the last couple of years.
So this is a one Loft race winner.
Yeah, winner, first place in the Apple Cup.
What year?
Great question. Oh, that'd be easy. 2018. So number one through the trap was 3 on a drop.
Can you tell us the bloodline and a little bit about the bird?
Yep, this is exactly what I mentioned before. So it's Van Elsacker. So Bruce Dane gave me the father. This is another reason that I believe in giving away birds, right? He gave me the father, which was CBS 1887. Was very successful in the Oklahoma Twister. And is it the Twister? No, it's the Lucky 17. So we erase everything that said Twister because that's Rick Martis's race. Okay, so I'll just take you around the breeding loft, show you kind of what we're talking about, and kind of how I prepare performance. So this bird is from Gary Johnson. It's Red Cedar 5650. It's a Jansen. So while I gave Gary a shout out, and if I didn't, here he comes with one for him. He got out of the sport for a little while and retained 5 birds that he was going to restart with. And then out of luck, he decided, I called him just to check on him, and he was like, man, I'm glad you called. I want you to have these birds. So he gave me basically what he would restart his bird with. 5650 is an AU Elite Champion. Its bloodlines go way back, so performance. Bred my top 3 birds the last 2 years with that out of that guy. I even sent a couple back to Gary because now he's starting and getting his feet back wet in the pigeon sport. I paired that with the Apple Cup winner. This is GSAF 5256. That's my #1 flying daughter out of that bird. It came from an Irish Syndicate Cannibal hen that I just pulled off my team, and then CBS 1887. It's probably easier for you just to scan through.
So you have lots of cannibals here.
I do.
You like that bloodline, huh?
It just happens in performance, right?
Yes.
So it's all performance. So he's Van Elsacker, and the cannibals just keep popping up from wherever we can go. So the Apple Cup winner is out of that cock and out of this hen. And the hen is the white band right there. That's 626. Basically, she's Mona Lisa and some of his Kuwait line. And I paired her with her grandson. So she's on a very high. So to get the birds ready, we talked a little bit about, or we will talk about the loft or the nest cards that we print out. Those are all part of a crazy spreadsheet. So what happens is Richard and I, we spend a lot of time together talking about birds, talking about what we like. We give our own opinion. We look at the pedigree, we look at the flying record, and we look if they've bred before, how they bred, and we come up with an equation that basically tells us whether that bird's going to meet the cut or not. This is 2 blue bars that have recessive red in the back. It's out of Tilson, so Baldwin Tilson bird, very old bird. 4149. That's a 2014 model. She still lays eggs. She actually bred the average speed winner for the Flamingo for Bruce.
2014.
2014. Yep. And I have them paired on Jeff Earthman bird number 15 from 2020. They throw recessive reds almost exclusively.
This one I can tell this is an old bird.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's 8047 is Cannibal Stickabout. I'm trying to
Cannibal and Stickabout.
Yep, I'm trying to remember what that bird did, but it's 2018.
That's the cock, right?
Yep, on the ground, yes sir. That's the Cannibal throwback.
Wow.
So you see how many indigos I have and throwbacks to the indigos, so they make the brick red.
Or something. Can you tell something about this one?
Yep. So going back to giving birds away, that bird is a inbred brother-sister mating out of my indigo hen that you saw in the breeding pen. Lelton paired those together, Lelton Morse, paired those together and flew them to 350 miles and then gave them back to me when he stopped flying club races and went to his one loft race. So, but that is a inbred Cannibal HVR. The Cannibal was from Sal. The HVR was from Brian Jones. So the Cannibal was out of some of Sal's.
So there's a reason why it caught my eyes.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because it's fantastic. So it's weird, right? Brick red color.
It is.
And it's out of a brother-sister mating. Pretty crazy looking.
Okay. Well, what is your advice for new fanciers who are aspiring for this type of hobby?
The #1 mistake that I see new fanciers making is buying too many birds. Sometimes you're buying culls, but you're buying birds that people could do without. If you're just starting, get a team, start flying them, and then breed out of your best flyers until you get better. And then you can keep bringing in new birds and have somebody, like you said, young birds. So if somebody wants some young birds, do that and bring them in. But don't keep any. You're gonna breed what you get, right? So if you're breeding out of your entire fly team, you probably should only be keeping birds out of your top 2 birds. Proven birds or proven flyers is where I would, proven breeders or proven flyers where I would start with. And you're gonna breed. I started to say is you're gonna breed what you pair together. So if you got a bunch of 5th place birds and you pair 5th to 5th or 5th to 8th, well, you're gonna have a bunch of 5th and 8th place pigeons for the rest of the time being. So be highly selective in what you breed. Maybe not what you fly, but what you breed out of needs to be highly selective.
Well, thank you so much. And also, thank you for your service and thank you for inviting me here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and happy flying. Let's say, kumusta kalapatids?
Kumusta? All right. Kumusta kalapatids? Please subscribe and express. Please. Kumusta kalapatids? Thank you very much for your time. Please subscribe to Phil Lamb Express Racing Pigeons. Thank you very much.
Happy flying.
Happy flying.